So today's talk, first of all, thank you so much guys for joining. And before I even begin, I would really take a moment to appreciate and thank my amazing team, Jenny, Diana, Jan, Dorina, Christian behind the camera, everybody. Without you guys, Charles, and many other people that I am probably not naming right now, without your help, we couldn't have done it. It was really wonderful effort from all of you. And to all our audience, thank you so much for joining. I promise it's going to be exciting. So today's talk is about how to build a $1 million automotive cybersecurity company in 12 months. So this is a pretty exciting title. I'm really excited because those of you who joined, I'm pretty sure that you are entrepreneur in your heart. You want to build a company, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So today, I'm going to talk to you I'm going to teach you, people like you who are either engineers, scientists, or tech enthusiasts, or people without tech background who wants to build a tech company. I'm going to teach you how to build a company from zero to $1 million turnover per year within 12 months. So what does that even mean? A $1 million company means if you have about $84,000 of revenue per month, that equates to a $1 million company. And that's exactly what our goal is within 12 months. We want to reach 84,000 revenue per month. This is what we're going to talk about. We're going to tell you how to start an automotive cybersecurity consulting business. What are the skills you need to learn in order to run such a business and take it from zero to $1 million? Because this is where we feel safe. Once we build a $1 million company, this is a safe zone to be in. That's what the sweet spot is, and this is where we want to go to. How to book clients and serve their needs. That's what we're going to talk about. And finally, how to scale your consulting company. So these are the agenda. And before I even begin, let me quote myself from my book, The $1 Million Monk, one sentence that I'm really excited about. So if you are a scientist or an engineer and you have the entrepreneurial drive in you, you're a superhuman. You can literally move humanity forward. And actually, I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to people like us who are tech people and we have the entrepreneurial drive. We can literally change the world for better. Starting from Thomas Edison, or even if you go backward, like James Cook, back in time, James Cook, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, whatever happened amazing in our society is for tech people who had the courage to also become entrepreneurs. So that's why this book is for you guys, and also this seminar is for you guys. A little bit about me. My name is Hasan Akram. I am the founder and the CEO of Matrickz GmbH. Besides that, I've founded 7 other companies, many of which has turned out to be multi-seven-figure companies. So that's my background. I've been featured on many of these TV channels and magazines, but that's not important. What's important is today, I'm going to tell you a little bit before I begin. I'm going to tell you my story, because today I have shown all my credentials, not to brag, but to say that hey, I have come all the way here. But it wasn't all like this for me. Back in 2005, I was a starving student, and I founded my first company back in 2005. And almost accidentally, I got an automotive project with a big German tier 1 with my first company. And my job was to build a braking system calculation software, which was highly mathematical, and I didn't have any idea about it. I didn't have any idea about braking system. I didn't have any idea about automotive software. I didn't have any idea about automotive process. I didn't even know how to run a business. Yet I started. And as a student, when you get such a project, in terms of the volume, you get excited. You're really pumped up. And the amount of money you earn, you live like a king. So I really worked hard. Although I didn't know anything about it, I worked hard, and And I figured it out. I figured everything out by myself. This was the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. The reason I want to say that, I talked about where I am today and where I started. As you can see that I had absolutely nothing. And many of you are probably farther along in your entrepreneurship journey or even in your career compared to this picture where I was absolutely really started from zero. So the reason I wanted to tell you is the good news is you can learn it. The problem with me was I learned it the hard way. I had to figure things out, make many mistakes, and at one point I figured it out. And today I'm going to give you my secret sauce. So, as you can see, my journey continued as an entrepreneur, and in 2013, right after my PhD in 2012, I held a short postdoc position at a university, but right after that, in 2013, I founded my company, and as you can see, one picture back in the early days with my teammates, we were playing laser tag, and here we are today. So let's begin with the problems that we face when we want to build a company. The problem number one is the odds are not in your favor. 90% of all entrepreneurs fail within the first 3 years. And the statistics even go scarier as it goes to 5 years, 10 years, even 50% of those who survive fail. So it turns out that 95% of the companies actually exist more than 10 years. So the odds are not in your favor. Another problem is, especially with my colleagues, tech people, I've seen it. We don't really know why we do things. When we have an idea and we come up with a prototype in 7 days, and if people ask us why do we do things, we answer because we can. And I've seen it time and time again. We really don't, we love the technology so much that we get stuck with the technology. We do not think about the business. That's another problem. And that problem number two, as I call the accidental entrepreneurs. Some of my colleagues who are successful entrepreneurs today, they're accidental entrepreneurs. They love what they do so much. They're so good at what they do that they become an entrepreneur accidentally. So that's the problem. We do not have the entrepreneurial skill to tech people that is necessary. At least I didn't have it. Problem three is oftentimes we are working in a shrinking market. That's why I've chosen today's topic, automotive cybersecurity, because as you can see here, this is a snippet from a McKinsey white paper. This is not a shrinking market. This is not a shrinking market. In 2025, the size of this industry is going to be $8.4 billion. By 2030, it's going to be $9.7 billion. We're already somewhere around $5-6 billion, the size of the company today, the size of the industry today. So this is the right industry, and all of you have done the right choice to choose this industry because your odds are much better when you're in an industry where the industry is growing that rapidly. Another good news, or even a challenge in some cases, you will face this challenge in your entrepreneurial journey, that there are not enough people in automotive cybersecurity. That is a problem. That is a problem. That is a good thing because, the supply and demand question, there's a lot of demand but not enough supply, but it's hard to scale. And this is exactly the problem that we're going to address. This is one of the problems that we're going to address today. So again, how to build a $1 million automotive cybersecurity company in 12 months. Are you guys with me? Please write yes in the chat. Amazing. So let's set some rules for today. Rule number one, we're going to have fun. No matter what, I promise you that I'm going to deliver a lot of stuff you're going to have fun with it. And the second is my promise to you, I'm going to deliver 110% today. You're giving me the most valuable commodity one can give. It's your time. and I promise that I'm going to give my 110%. Rule number 3, it's not going to be a monologue. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this talk, and I want you to ask questions. Please write your questions down. I encourage you to ask as many questions as possible, as you want. Rule number 4, that I want you to promise that you're going to take actions. I know that in most of my talks, when I give a talk, there are less than 1% of the people who really goes and implement what I say. 99.99% of the people, they just, enjoy my talk, laugh with the jokes, and they get excited, but they forget everything when they go home. And my request to you for today's audience, this is an exciting time, exciting topic. You have the right background. It is the right time. Everything is in your favor. So please take action. And rule number 5 is, please keep yourself uninterrupted. Let's shut our cell phones and social media and everything for the next 40 minutes to 1 hour, and let's focus on this. This may be one thing that you need in your life to get to the next level that you want to. So, without further ado, I want to talk about things that I wish I knew 20 years ago. I learned it the hard way, and I'm going to give away my secret sauce to you guys today. I realized, if you want me to pick 2 skills that you need in order to build a business, I will boil it down to two things: sales and leadership. These are the 2 things you need. And believe it or not, I had 0 sales skill when I started my entrepreneurship. I did all the school book mistakes you could do. I was focused on the tech. I loved the technology because my background is tech background. I was terrible with sales. The second, my leadership skill was 0. I mean, I never was the guy in school who would take lead or anything. I was bullied in high school. I was never a leader. So my leadership skill was 0. Now, the reason I'm saying this, if I can do it, anybody can. That's the good news. These are learnable skills. And today, I'm going to give you some of the things that you need, especially in automotive cybersecurity industry. But the question is, here's the question. What did I have? I didn't have sales skill. I didn't have leadership skill. But what I had is the drive. And that is the number 1 thing. That's not even a skill. I don't consider drive to be a skill. And this is something that I can't teach you. Nobody can teach you. Drive cannot be learned. You cannot learn to be more motivated. Nobody can teach you that. But here's the good news. The first part, before we get into the real stuff, I want to tell you that there are 2 things we need to have. The more important thing is something that people don't often talk about, but we're gonna delve into that. The second stuff is what people are obsessed with. These are the tactics and skills, the tactical bit. We're going to talk about the tactical bit. The stuff that people don't talk about, which I think is more important, like, for example, drive, is your mindset stuff. This seminar today is not going to be a fully mindset seminar. For that, you can read my book, which is absolutely essential. But I can tell you, if you do not have the right mindset, it's just not going to work. It is axiomatic, so it's just not going to work. You have to have the drive. I cannot give you the drive. I had the drive, but I didn't have any skills. And anybody who has the drive can learn skills. Again, to talk about mindset, let me summarize the real message of my book in 3 words. You got to have the drive, the desire, the motivation. You got to believe, and you have to have perseverance. These are the 3-step formula to achieve anything you want to. I'm just oversimplifying these things. If you do not have the drive, you can't make it. If you have the drive, but if you have self-doubt, it's not going to work. If you have if you have the drive and if you even believe in yourself, but if you give up, it's not gonna work. So these are the foundation. The mindset is the more important bit of it, and I'm gonna give you some of the hack. So if you want to develop your motivation, you got to start with why. You have to have a deeper reason. When I hire people, I usually ask this question: why do you want to work besides the paycheck? What is their reason? If somebody tells me a fancy reason that they love the technology and all those, it's not deep enough for me. But if somebody tells me a simple reason that they have to provide for their family, that's a very, very deep reason. And that person will work hard. That's a great motivation because he has to provide for his family. It doesn't sound super exciting. It doesn't sound super interesting. It's boring, but that's true. And another thing is he's telling the truth. So your why could be providing for your family. Your why could be, you want to change the world. Whatever the why is, you got to start with why. People start talking about what. Actually, the seminar started with what? What do we want? We want to have a $1 million automotive cybersecurity company, but you got to start with your why if you want to make yourself motivated. The how is the second part, and then what comes automatically. So that's the Simulsinex formula. You start with the purpose, you define your process, and you start falling in love with your process, and then the outcome is the result of these two. So that's one hack for you to, create your drive. You got to delve into your why. Now let's come to the sales part. In order for you to sell something automotive, what I've seen is people most of the time do not understand what is it people want, because what you're doing is are you selling your skill? Nobody cares about your skill. Are you selling your time? Nobody cares about my time. Nobody cares about. Let's look at the classic example of sales, like a vacuum cleaner. Nobody buys a vacuum cleaner. They buy the result, a clean room. Now, if you can come up with a technology that you press a button, then all the dust in the room will disappear. Nobody will ever buy a vacuum cleaner. So they care about the dream result. We'll define what our clients in the automotive cybersecurity industry, their dream result is. They also want to trust it that this is going to work. So they want to see your authority and trust. And the amount of effort, you have to decrease it. So like the example I gave you, if you can somehow create something that they'll have to just click a button and the room is cleaned, the effort people will have to put in order to use a vacuum cleaner is eliminated. So your service or product becomes immediately more valuable just because you've eliminated the effort people will have to put to use your product. So this is what we have to see in terms of our customers' perspective. Our customers also don't want to put any effort. And the other thing is time, immediate gratification. This is really the golden rules for sales. If you want to know more about it, read $100 Million Offer from Alex Hormozi. Amazing book. This is the only sales book you have to read. I've read hundreds of, and I knew that I didn't need to read any if I only read one. This is really the real deal in sales. You understand what people will want, and that's it. That's how you can deliver everything. All we have to do now is translate these things in our context. Automotive cybersecurity. Who are our clients? Let's talk about dream results. Like I said, do you really think people care about your skill? How good you are in car hacking? They're not, because skills are commodity. You can buy skills. Of course, skills are needed. You will be serving technology, right? You'll have to be skills, but this is not what their dream result is. So let's talk about the 5 types of dream results that I have identified our clients want in automotive cybersecurity industry. So when I say our clients would be the OEMs, the tier 1s, and probably the tier 2s. That's it. This is how the supply chain of automotive works, and we're just talking about those companies and special units in those companies. So that's what I mean by our clients, the clients where you can sell your services of automotive cybersecurity to. Now, result one is they want certification / homologation. So they care about certification and homologation. If you're talking about a OEM, the OEM cares about the entire vehicle homologation. The OEM does not care about cybersecurity, functional safety, what have you. He cares about the vehicle level homologation. It turns out WP29 or requirement that we have to have certain automotive cybersecurity in place in order to qualify through the homologation. That's why it comes down to cybersecurity. But what they care about is homologation. If you can find a trick that the homologation will work without it, they would take it. But this is a legal requirement. It won't work without automotive cybersecurity. And that's the result. The tier ones, what they want is certification, because the homologation, because their client, the tier ones, would demand the certification in order for their homologation. That's number one. Number two, test execution. They want the test results. So let me tell you one thing before I go to the result 2, 3, 4, and 5. All those results that our clients want relates to the number one. That's kind of like the mother of all the results that I will be talking about. Now, OEM is a big entity, right? There is probably a braking system business unit, and they will need to certify, or the tier one is doing the braking system, and they'll need to certify. And their certification system also has several units, several smaller units, and those units are your customers. And one of them will require test execution in order to certify. So again, all those things are related to what you're talking about here. And there is a question, what is homologation? This is a process to certify in order for an OEM having the allowance from the government in order to have the permission to put their vehicle in the street. That's homologation. So test execution is number two. Number three, again, relates to number one, passing assessments. So we oftentimes say that the customer wants an assessment. The customer does not want an assessment. Nobody likes to be assessed. They need to pass the assessment in order to qualify, again, for those two reasons that we have seen in number one. Number four is they care for process maturity. They do not want to build the process. They want their process to be matured. Of course, they have to build the process in order for their process to be matured, but nobody wants to spend that effort. If you go to a customer and say, hey, I'm going to take your process to be matured, and 30% of your entire workforce time will be consumed by that. That is a company's or a manager's nightmare, right? So process maturity is they want, not the effort. And number five, this is true for all customers, actually in all engineering or many other fields, they want to reduce cost and time. That's what they want. So you got to understand what they want. Instead of talking about, oftentimes I get these emails in LinkedIn when they're offering, they are good at .NET technology, Java technology, Angular J technology, and all this. Nobody cares about all their technologies they're naming there. That's such a wrong way of doing marketing. They're just wasting people's time and their time. And sometimes they may get lucky and get one or two things here and there, but that is really, you're competing with commodity. At the end of the day, if you're actually offering the technology that the list of technology this is where you have to compete with price probably. The worst is when they say that you will be able to get our service at a very, very low cost. All right, Stevan has a great question. So elaborate a little bit about process maturity. So process maturity is when you want to certify, in automotive industry, when you want to get certified, if you have cybersecurity requirements, then you will need to follow a process, and the process that should comply with the newly released standard ISO 21444. So ISO 21444 is a standard, and your process should be compliant to that. So in order to make it compliant, the gap you need to fill up, that's really the path toward maturity. When it complies, you call it your process is matured enough. Hope that answers the question. So without further ado, let's have a look. Now that we talked about the one part, which is like the dream result of the client, you got to talk about how to build trust and authority. This is really the name of the game. And I'm super excited about that thing because the customers, you're welcome, Stevan. The customers, they will want to have their dream outcome. But now if you go and tell them, hey, I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z, why should they trust you? You have to build the trust and authority. And how do you do that? I'm really excited about this because this is another thing that I wish I had done differently 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I only started it seriously in 2016, I would say, 2016. So that is what I call in my book the Hollywood effect formula. So what is the Hollywood effect formula? Is when people see you in the social media, nobody's really spending time on TV as much as they're doing in their cell phone and social media. When they see you in social media, when they read your content, our brain, the deep, the limbic part of our brain is not able to distinguish between reality and seeing it in social media. So when people see you at least five times in social media, talking about a particular topic, they kind of build a trust and see you as an authority figure in that field. So this is what I call the Hollywood effect. So it has never been that easy for everyone to build an authority in a certain field. So that's why I'm super excited about it. So in order to do that, what I want you to do is communicate. It's not that only putting videos or contents in a particular form. You have to reverse engineer yourself. If you're good at in front of the camera, make a video. If you're good at writing, put an article. If you're good at anything, do something. If you're good at audio, so put content. Content is the king. And we're like, it's so democratized, the services that we're getting in order to communicate with people. It's so much democratized that you can put stuff for free, and we're not realizing this will not remain the same 10 years ago. If you imagine 10 years back, if you would put a content in Facebook, it will have much more organic reach. It's not the same today. Now, if you look at LinkedIn today, that is kind of like Facebook 2012. There was a lot of organic reach, but I bet it's not going to be the same 5-10 years down the line, maybe in 1 year. So you really have to utilize what you have today. These things do not take things for granted. In early 2001, we had like 1 cent or half a cent for a Google click. The clicks that I'm buying was ridiculously cheap. Now we even have, the highest click for Google click for $500 or more. So these things will never remain constant. The fact that we have it now, we got to utilize them. So content. And then the second thing is you got to advertise. You have to put some money, in, because advertisement in social media is, again, ridiculously cheap. It's not going to be like this. When the big corporations start putting their money, one impression that is like a couple of cents now may cost you $500 or so. So this is not going to be the same. So the third thing is reach out to people. And I was very shy. I was very shy about all of these. I was very shy about reaching out to people. This is where I'm going to give you two tools. One that was amazing even 1 year ago, but there are some restrictions now. You know what I'm talking about, LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn cold outreach was amazing. There was not a lot of restriction. Now you can only send out 50 outreach to 50 contact requests every week. So that's not much. So there's another tool that is a paid tool that you can take and get even the telephone number, name, email address of any corporation in the world. I mean, anyone in the world, and reach out to those people. And it is GDPR compliant because we are talking about B2B. Don't worry about people. People get nuts when I talk about cold outreach. This is absolutely legal and GDPR compliant. And you can reach out to those people. This is really, really important when you'll be building your business, to reach out to people. And I'm going to talk more about it later on. If I ask you this question, if you start a company and the first hire, who would you hire? Can anybody say, would you hire a tech guy? All right, we're definitely going to come back to that, Eddie. So, yeah, Stefan's a tech team person, a tech guy, marketing. All right. Thought leader, sales. I would go with sales. Salesperson or a marketing salesperson is the first one I would hire. And today I'm also going to teach you about how to do it without breaking your bank. So hang out with me. You guys are amazing. You guys are giving a lot of insight. So reach out to people is important, and how to automate this process, how to do it without breaking your bank is also what I'm going to give you today. So stay with me. So what else? And then you have to automate. You have to automate such processes. This is how you build authority and trust. This is how you build a mailing list. This is how you build you build a mailing list. This is how you build authority. You build an audience. You build a following. Anybody can do that. You just have to put the right one. All right. Again, I told you about three things that I'm going to give you three hacks. One for hacking your drive, how to really fire up your drive by defining your why. Now the second one is how to solidify your belief. So there is a difference between learning. Like I said, you can learn skills, but you cannot learn to be more motivated. You cannot learn to believe something. So learning versus transformation. In order to be more motivated, what you need is transformation. Like some people call it the higher consciousness, whatever it is. This is like almost like you'll have a new perspective when you see the world. So that's the learning versus transformation. Learning is something you can learn, like a skill, and you can unlearn it. But transformation is permanent. It never goes reverse. So there are three ways of transformation. Here is an interesting story. Google did a study, and they tried to figure out who their best employees were. Like I'm talking about Google, who picks the best of the best, right? They wanted to find out who their top performers were. It turns out Google's top performers were not the Ivy League graduates, were not the top graders. Google's top performers were those who went through an extraordinary hardship in their life, and they went through the process of transformation. They're their top performers. So you can transform through an extraordinary hardship. Like Obama once said that if you want to get things done, hire veterans. And I kind of agree with Obama, because they're the one who are in a life and death situation if they have gone to war. They were in a life and death situation, and they come back with a different perspective. So this is extraordinary hardship. Now, am I telling everyone to go and have a life and death situation? No, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this is one way to get it. But fortunately, there are others. The second one is extreme discipline. Like extreme discipline over a long period of time is another way to get transformation. And when I mean extreme discipline, means extremely focused. And what I do, one of my hack is if you can wake up every day at the same time, that is like training your willpower to its top, right? I mean, it takes a lot of discipline to wake up every day at the same time. So that's one way. Over a long time means, decades. I mean decades. And this third one is a transcending experience. We know it from people who had near-death experiences. They experience something that transformed their way of thinking about life. So this is another hack that I wanted to put in, and a little more on hacking your belief. So there are 3 kinds of truth out there. According to Neil deGrasse Tyson, a very interesting point of view. One is personal truth. So you believe something, and this is your personal truth, your personal, truth. And the other is political truth. That's really the dangerous one. Something that you hear time and time again from the external entities. Neil deGrasse Tyson is calling it political truth, and you start believing it. And the third one is what matters to us, like the scientists and the engineers, are the objective truths, like facts. A lot of people are not able to differentiate facts and the other truth. That's a bad news, that people can fall into political truth and personal truth by external influences. The good news is you can also use those tactics in order to make you believe that you can achieve what you want to achieve. Like repeating your affirmation. Politicians have done it time and time again. They want you to repeat their slogans time and time again in order to make you believe something that's not true. And you can ignore the social media and all those poisons out there and repeat your affirmation, what you want yourself to believe. And this is an amazing belief hack that worked for me. Another formula, like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about mindset, and then going to go back to tactic. Another final formula for perseverance, like I said, there are 3 things for your mindset. 3 things for your mindset. The second was belief, and the third one was perseverance. So let's talk about perseverance. People ask me, how long will it take you to achieve what you want to achieve? The answer is always as long as it takes. But again, you have to give yourself a deadline. Like today, we have given ourselves a deadline. We'll start today, and within 12 months, we'll have a monthly revenue of $84,000, which means my company will be a $1 million turnover company. That company is worth, in our domain, the value of your company is 2.5 times your revenue. That means that company would worth 2.5 million in the market. Automotive cybersecurity is an exciting one. Here, the hack is we always live in a prison of other people's opinion. When you want to achieve something, most of our fear is, what if we fail? What will others say about us? We spend our money to buy expensive cars, expensive stuff, to impress people that we freaking hate. That is the way we live our life. So other people's opinion, in my opinion, is a prison. And if you want to get out of this prison, you have to go for some dopamine detox, and that's the hack. You have to go for dopamine detox, like you have to detox yourself for social media. You have to eliminate toxic people, and you have to hang out with people that you admire. Show me your 5 friends. We know it from the MIT study. Show me your 5 friends and I'll tell your future. Some don'ts, I've talked a lot about what you should do, but it's really, really important. Really, really, my coach, my business coach, Craig Ballantyne taught me, what not to do is more important than what to do, because what you shouldn't do is destroy. It's like taking you in reverse. So here are some don'ts. Complaining is gonna take you in reverse. So do not complain, appreciate. Then don't ask, why will it not work? This is a magic one. In our company, we have implemented this one. We never come up with the explanation why it's not gonna work. The question is, how can I make it work? This sentence alone has increased our productivity so much, it's unbelievable. People come and give me an explanation, why is it not gonna work for 20 minutes? That doesn't help. Well, what you have said is flawless, it's logical, it makes sense, but it's not helping. What we need to find out is, how can I make it work? So take that one. Even if you take one thing from this talk, how can I make it work instead of why it's not gonna work? Only that thought in your brain is gonna change everything for you. Don't watch TV. Don't blame others. Take extreme responsibility. Blaming. The other day I was listening to a podcast from Alex Hormozi, and his title of the podcast is 28 Reasons Why Will You Stay Poor for the Rest of Your Life. And one of them was blaming others, blaming the government, blaming the political system, blaming the economy, blaming the weather even. Those people will stay poor for the rest of their life, according to Alex Hormozi. When you're building a company, it's not about making money. It's about making a money-building machine. There is a difference between making money. Making money is like, if you sell your time, you're making money. It's like a one-time thing. But building a money-making machine is a sustainable business that has cash flow. It's all about cash flow over and over and over and over again. So there is no way you can build the money-making machine on your own. It's just not possible. You need to have a team. This is a formula that I want to give you. We're all in somewhere, we're all somewhere in the spectrum. You have to understand what's your hourly worth. There's like $10 an hour job, $100 an hour job, $1,000 an hour job, $10,000 an hour job, $100,000 an hour job, $1 million an hour job, $10 million an hour job, $100 million an hour job, or $1 billion an hour job. There is no such thing as absolute passive income. Warren Buffett's hours are probably $1 billion an hour, because the decisions he makes billion with those decisions. Some people's hours are $10 an hour. Some people's dollars are hundreds and thousands. So what your job is here to identify where you are. Imagine that you are at $100 an hour. Whatever task you do every day, which is worth less than $100 an hour, you should delegate. You should either hire someone or teach someone to do it. And your job is to get to the higher end of the spectrum. You should try to also eliminate what you do today and get to the $1,000 an hour job or the $10,000 an hour job. So this is really the understanding of making money versus building a money-making machine. You got to understand another thing that's called leverage. And there's certain things that you have to take home. You have to utilize other people's time. Build a team. There's no way you can do everything for yourself if you want to make $1 million industry. You can probably get to multiple six-figure even on your own, but there is a limit. There is no way you can build it on your own. You have to also utilize other people's money, because when you get to 1 million, there will be necessity of certain financing. So other people's experience, you will also not be able to know all the skills by yourself. You'll have to leverage other people's experience and OPI other people's idea. The best successful companies in the world. None of them were their original idea. They took the idea from someone else. So you got to also be, there's nothing, it's about building a company. It's not about you. It's not about you, how great you are. It's all about how great your company is. So it doesn't have to be your company, your idea. So let me summarize what you need to do in order to create a $1 million automotive cybersecurity company in 12 months. Your job is to get to $84,000 a month. Now, if 150 to 200 is your hourly rate for offering your consulting, you probably need to have around 6 or 7 people in your team. Then you get to that point. It's that simple. And you have to have customers. It's really simple. I like oversimplifying things. So you need to gain your skills, the skills that you'll be selling. You need to create an irresistible offer, the dream results. If you say that I'm great at ISO 21434, I have this certification, that certification, nobody cares. You have to, this is really the art of a successful business. I have done that mistake. I see so many tech companies from different parts of the world. They're either pitching with a list of all the technology they possibly can, or they're talking about how cheap they are, how much money I can save. Yes, people do care about saving money, but they first care about their dream outcome. So you got to come up with an irresistible offer with the client's dream outcome. Number 3 is you got to build authority and trust. And there has never been a time in the history of mankind where it was so much simple. I wouldn't say it's easy. It is simple and accessible. It is still complex. Not everybody will be successful if they don't figure out the right way of doing it. Because again, when you'll be putting out content in the internet, in social media, it's not about what you think is good. It's about what your audience will like. So again, it's not easy, but it's simple. Number 4, in order to leverage, like the money spectrum that I showed you, in order to leverage, you need to hire people. Again, it's not easy. It's simple. There has to be a process. It's not easy. Hiring people is number 4 is the biggest pain point of tech entrepreneurs. This is where they stumble. The thing is, there's this saying that if you want it to be done the best way, then you have to do it yourself. And this is what's going to kill you. My coach, Craig Ballantyne, says that there is this 5-word sentence that is going to kill you as an entrepreneur. That sentence is, I am going to do it myself. That sentence is going to kill you. So there is no way you can build a 7-figure company in automotive cybersecurity consulting without hiring and leading. Now, my disadvantage was I didn't know how to do this, but now that I've learned it, my advantage is, no matter what business I go to, this is the most difficult part and I've mastered it. So that's where you have to have your skill and you have to have a solid sales process. So this is really the roadmap. And if you follow, I guarantee that you're gonna get to 6 people. You're gonna get to your 84,000 within a year if you're consistent. If you just start putting content, if you gain those skills, if you create an irreversible offer by understanding your customer's need, and around that offer, you start putting out content every single day for 12 months. If you hired the right people and if you have a sales process, I guarantee you will get there. Now you can ask this question, that Hasan, where do I get the time? That's a fair question. Look, you can do it like the way I did. Learned it the hard way. Since 2005 till now, there were a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows. and it's normal. It's going to happen. The good news is I have created something for you so that I can help you. I've created a boot camp where I'm going to teach you how to create an irresistible offer and give you out-of-the-box templates. Out-of-the-box templates so that you can use them in order to create that offer that people, your clients, our clients, I mean, I've so much experience with the clients that we'll be serving that they will love. Number two, it's like the numbering, I apologize for the numbering, there should be number two, it's number three, it's actually number two. Number two is how to build authority and trust by creating content, video content, audio content, or written content. We will be giving you a library of content in the field of automotive cybersecurity where you can take, and we'll also tell you not to plagiarize. I'm not telling you to plagiarize, how to create from those content your own content. How to even write a book in automotive cybersecurity. You know, people often underplay this one. Now, this is what when I talk to my team, this is what I encourage them time and time and time again. That look, if you're working for Matrickz, you not only are having a good company to work for, all those opportunities, the paycheck and everything. The biggest chance is it's not how much you will earn, it's what will you become in 5-10 years by working for Matrickz. And one of the things that we can offer you that I didn't have when I worked for a company is we have a huge social media following, and I encourage my boys to create content, video content, audio content, written content. Now I ask them, let's say person A is very good at automotive cybersecurity and person B is an average guy in automotive cybersecurity. Person A is 10 times better, right? And what person B does is he puts content in the internet, video content, audio content, and people knows him for automotive cybersecurity. And person A is super good, but nobody knows him. Now, if you both apply for the same job, who do you think has an advantage? Obviously, person B. And that is the power of creating content. And what I was saying is writing a book. I mean, if you have a book, it's like, having a PhD. Like that is super authority. That's going to stand you out in the market anyway. So that's also a sales strategy that I'm going to teach you and how to do it. I mean, it sounds daunting, but there are ways to do it, which I'm going to teach you. Then I'm going to teach you how to hire people. How to hire people. I mean, if you're have taken your first project and if you're working 30 to 40 hours to pay your bills and keep it going, so your time is occupied, you don't have time for sales. The second person that you want to hire, is he going to be a tech guy or a sales guy? Sales guy. So sales guys are expensive. If you have to pay him from your hard-earned money to the other guy, how are you going to grow? So here's the deal. We're going to teach you how to hire virtual assistants, literally for $500 a month, without breaking your bank account, and train them to do all the cool activities. Like I said, Zoom info, we'll teach you how to do cold outreach, how to automate the process with a virtual assistant. We'll teach you how to do that. And that's something that I wish I know 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I've hired and spent hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of euros, dollars on people who didn't help me in any of these. So, you hire someone for $500 a month and give them a process. They just have to follow the process and it works. It works for us. It is going to work for you. And then we'll also teach you how to hire tech people. Believe me, that one is a very difficult part. That one is a very difficult part. Sometimes I get an impression, especially from companies, they call themselves consulting companies, but they're actually a body leasing company. They would just hire people and rent them out. They think they can assemble 10 people and they have a project team. This couldn't be any further from the truth. If you put 10 people together, you do not have a project team. You need much more than that. You need a process, you need culture, you need trust. This is a very, very complex process when you will be executing projects. So you need a process, and we'll give you this process. And finally, we'll give you sales process. This is what we're going to give you. We're going to give you really the fast track toward $1 million automotive cybersecurity consulting company. Here is Gary Vaynerchuk. One of my favorite internet personality that I really resonate with. And he's all about taking actions. Our ideas are nothing. Execution is really the name of the game. And you only regret things that you don't do. So what I want you to do today is to take action. Do not regret. Time's going to go away anyway. Take action and do what you want to do. That's the reason you're here, because you really want to form a company. Otherwise, you wouldn't join this webinar. And believe me, watching webinar does not make things happen. Reading books does not make things happen. Knowledge does not make things happen. The only thing that makes things happen is your action. So it's really, we're in the time of social media. We're consuming so much content, great content, and we're thinking, hey, we've learned, but we're not executing. It's all about action. End of the day, I ask myself, how many actions did I take? It's all about actions. So please, I urge you to take some actions today.